All right, so it's on. I'll scoot over a little.
Okay.
So today we're going to do something a little bit different, so bear with us. I have invited my friend Shawna to come and share a little about her. I had said that I wanted to do some videos sharing people that really inspire me, empower me, really have great stories to share. So I'm going to let Shawna introduce herself, and we'll do some questions and have her share a little of her story.
All right. Well, I'm Shawna, and I am technically a stay-at-home mom, though I don't actually really love that title because I feel like sometimes it has like a stereotypical like negative connotation to it almost. You think like cooking, cleaning, like
Yeah, I don't do any of that.
and I wear so many more hats than that. So yes, I stay home with my children, but I write, I exercise. I have a whole life other than just staying home. But one of the things that I do the most is I write. I have a blog, and I also journal in addition to that. And I'm a taxi cab in the afternoons.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. And my biggest claim to fame is I was in a movie when I was 4 years old.
So this is cool because I didn't know this, so we will share on that in a minute.
And anybody that is watching that like knows me, they're all cracking up because that's how I introduce myself, because that's the biggest thing that...
Which is awesome. Perfect. So first of all, you have to explain the movie, and then we can go into the actual questions.
All right. So the movie Mermaids with Cher, Winona Ryder, Christina Ricci. Yeah. So there's a black and white flashback scene where Winona Ryder remembers her father, who basically like abandons their family, and it's an eclipse, and they put sunglasses on me. I look down. I look up at the sun. I look at the dad's feet. And I laugh, and that's it.
That is awesome, though.
Oh, but it's awesome because I'm on IMDb, and...
So now I'm going to go research this after this and see. But, like, you're in the credits, too, which I think is so cool. So I have a friend who did the set stuff for The Greatest Showman.
Get out. Oh, my gosh.
And every time I watch, I'm like, look, I know that name!
That is really awesome.
You know, so that's awesome. So fun fact I just learned, in case you were wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So why I chose Shawna, well, there's a lot of reasons why I chose Shawna to do this interview and be the first one, was that I related a lot to her with the stay at home, but not feeling like necessarily that's the whole identity that I want.
Exactly.
And a lot of what I'm trying to share on this vlog is kind of helping people find that identity when, you know, you're kind of in that transition. I feel like when we have kids that are so young, I mean, you're mom.
Oh,
like, you
absolutely.
can't really wear other hats.
Right.
And now we're both very similar in that, I mean, your youngest will be in school next year, so all your kids will be in school.
Right.
And I feel like, for me, that was a huge time of, like, crud. Like,
Yes.
what am I doing?
The feeling of transition, and you're like, who am I? Because your identity when they're young, your mom, wife, mom. That's
Right.
That's it.
Right.
And this year I've kind of been really searching for like, who am I really? Because there's so much more to me than wife and mom. Those are the two most important hats that I wear, but I'm also still me as a person. So finding that identity has been, I mean, I've been doing a lot of soul searching. My gosh, it's been quite the year.
And I get that because I have too. And what I love, though, is that you're open about it. So a lot of your soul searching has kind of inspired me to do the same thing. So I guess before I get into all these questions, because it just came up to me, I know when I started to transition to having other hats other than mom, it's really hard to share that with your children. I feel like husbands are really on board for the most part, but like, for my kids, they just see me as mom.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to kind of share that with them and also be like, yes, I am mom, but these are things that are important to me too. I don't know if you're struggling with that or if you had struggled with that.
Yes, because your kids are like, wait a second, I am your everything. How dare you have, you want to go out? Are you kidding? Like, I thought you were going to be home with me right now. So yes, there's like a almost guilt that comes with it, but then I'm also showing my kids that I'm a priority and I'm making myself a priority, and then in turn they're also making themselves a priority. So they don't necessarily need to do something if it makes them unhappy. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, they have to go to school. Yes, they have to do homework. But
we all have to do that whether we want to do that or not.
Right. If my middle daughter, she just decided she didn't want to play soccer anymore, and she's been playing for 3 or 4 years, and she just said, it doesn't make me happy anymore. That's your prerogative. And I think that I'm teaching her that she can have that voice of saying, this no longer fulfills me and I don't want to do it anymore. So by her seeing me kind of find myself, she is also finding herself. So I think that is helping with
which
that
is awesome
guilt.
because I feel like, I know myself, I'm sure other people are, is I feel like at the end of the day, my kids are like, Mom, do this, Mom, do that, Mom, do this. And I feel like you have to kind of step aside and be like, okay, they're not really doing it just to annoy you. I think they're trying to truly figure out what your role is and how it's changed. But I like the way that you said, like, showing them and helping them find their identity, because I think communicating with them will help a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, I feel like we're on the same kind of journey. All right, so let's do the questions so that, like, because I feel like you and I could talk forever.
Yes.
Which is fine. So, like, maybe this will be a variety show at some point in our life.
Yes.
So I have some questions. I'm going to try to stay in the camera, but, I mean, realistically, you really just want to hear Shawna and see Shawna. You see enough of me.
I just want to point out that I am always so nervous. Look at, I'm like breaking out in hives because I get
But
nervous.
she's doing an awesome job. So, like, when you're watching this and we share this, make sure you tell her she's doing
I'm
an
just
awesome
being
job.
authentic.
That's fine. That's all we do on this vlog. I mean, I think I had dirty hair last time.
Oh.
All right. So you told us you've done like a lot of soul searching, and one of the things I know that was really crucial to you was that you started this weight loss journey.
Yes.
An exercise journey. So can you share kind of how you got started, what it is you do?
Yeah. All right. So, this really started like four years ago. We were in Disney and we were celebrating my 31st birthday, which in theory is like so amazing.
First of all, fun fact, we celebrated my 30th birthday in Disney. So, twinsies.
It's so fun.
I mean, my birthday's in February, but we went down in the summer to celebrate.
Oh, nice. We were there like for February break. My birthday happens to always be during February break.
Sorry, I didn't mean to digress,
no,
but I just thought that was another fun
I love
connection.
that. I love it. And Disney happens to be like my favorite place in the entire world.
Mine too. And actually, we haven't been in like 3 years.
Oh,
so
no,
we're
you're
like
due.
chomping at the bit. Like,
absolutely.
I keep saying to my husband, I'm like, do we really need a basement? We could go to Disney. It's like comparable cost,
Yes,
really.
absolutely.
All right. So, sorry guys.
No.
We'll go to the next question now.
So we were there, and I do think that my kids had a lot of fun. I look back at the pictures, everyone's smiling. I'm smiling in the few pictures that I tolerated being in. But all I can think about is like the size of my feet. They were so swollen. I couldn't wear anything but leggings. It's actually like hard to talk about because I let myself get to this point where I couldn't fit in rides. Like I was on Dumbo trying to click in and I couldn't fit. Like that stinks.
Right.
So I get off, I'm mortified, watch my kids, but I still have to be like, oh, you're having
Right.
so much fun.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'm so happy for you. And
Right.
inside, I'm like bawling my eyes out, being like, what the
Right.
heck?
Right.
So we got home. The day we came home, I said, F this, like, in capital shouty letters, and I joined a gym and never looked back.
Which is awesome. Which is, like, so cool because, like, it's a big commitment to just join and never look back and just do it.
Yes.
So kudos to you for just jumping in.
Thank you. That was a really stinky trip for me, but I know the kids still had a good time. But man, like,
And it's hard because I feel like you and I have very similar. First of all, when I went to Disney 3 years ago, I remember looking at pictures and saying to my husband, like, "Oh my God, like, why did no one tell me?" And I mean, I wasn't like the worst I've ever been, but like I'd look at pictures, I was like, "Oh my God, like, is that really who I am?" And actually, for our anniversary that year, my husband got me personal training.
Oh, that's
because
amazing.
it was our whatever the iron anniversary is.
Oh
so,
my gosh, that pumping iron.
was
Oh my
what
gosh.
he got me. But it's
That's
funny that we
clever.
like both had our like little thing at Disney. But I get it because like you go places and it's like there's windows everywhere and you don't think windows are really that frustrating, but you're like,
Right.
this is like a full on mirror, like,
yeah.
and you can't like not look, but you're
Right.
also like trying not to look in the mirror and it's like
Absolutely.
cycling in your head. So I am absolutely there with you. I get that. All right, so you joined a gym,
Yes.
but you do a special kind of working out.
So the gym I joined was originally a gym just for women because I had a lot of anxiety about working out with men or having men see me work out because I was so out of shape and it shouldn't even matter because the only man that really matters is my husband and he's gonna be like, what do you mean other men looking at
But
you
it's also a
work out?"
confidence thing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And to
Absolutely.
be honest, for me, like, you don't want to go into the gym and be like, hey, I have 3 kids, my husband loves me, but like, I don't think anyone else would.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And I know
right.
that sounds awful. Sorry, Nick. I know that sounds
Yeah.
awful. But like, I mean, there's some sort of vanity too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But also, it's a comfort thing. Like, I'm going to be comfortable working out with women. Like, men are big and strong and whatever. I didn't
Right.
think that I would get to that point where I would be big and strong. I don't know. I just felt more comfortable. So that, and I found like a bunch of women that I absolutely love. Like, they're like my family now.
Which
you
is
know?
amazing because
Yeah.
that's the support.
Exactly.
So you did the women's gym, and then you also do Zumba,
So,
right?
Yes, but
Okay.
I started that at that gym.
Okay.
And then kind of at the same time, my husband, you know, as I'm getting in shape, he joined a traditional gym as well. And then we kind of plateaued at the same time, and it has been a fitness goal for him for as long as I can remember to join CrossFit, which is super athletic, like heavy lifting.
Super intimidating to me.
So same. He started and he's like, how fun would it be to do this together? Like, come work out with me. And I said, no, I'm good. I had like really huge misconceptions about what CrossFit would look
Right.
like. I'm thinking like huge muscles, big people, like lifting up and
Right.
lots of like grunting.
Yes.
It's not like that, but the universe kind of worked out for me and made the decision for me. My gym that I had belonged to was closing, and I didn't want to stop working out. So I just said, okay, I guess I'm going to CrossFit.
Right. Which is awesome
It is.
because now you're there every day for the most part,
I am
right?
there 6 days a week, and I love it. But I have a confession. My first week there, I got overwhelmed at a class and didn't know what I was doing, and I cried. I cried in the middle of the workout, like couldn't stop, walked out, but I went back the next day.
Which is awesome because I feel like that is also something I would do. All right, so we've answered like a lot of my written questions. So here's like my biggest question.
Yes.
what advice would you give to someone who wants to start their journey, try something new, and is scared to just jump into it?
Find yourself an accountability partner, whether it's a friend, a coworker, your husband, your wife. I mean, anybody. Find someone and kind of go with them. I found that helped me a lot. Like that time that I left, and I said, I'm not going back. No way. All those people saw me crying. Like,
well, and then there's the embarrassed factor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, you're uncomfortable, and now you're embarrassed because everyone saw you uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But my husband was like, no, come on, I'm going with you. I will be there. I've got you. You've got this. Like, I need that support.
Right.
And so I went back, and I made a joke about it. I said, I promise I'm not going to cry today.
And really, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
All right, so accountability partners. I'm huge on them. I love them for everything I do, and sometimes it drives other people nuts. Which leads me to, how do you choose the right partner that you know isn't going to be annoyed? If you're like me, who asks a lot of questions or checks in a lot.
Oh, yeah. I am like that, too. I'll ask my husband, I'm like, so is this the right portion of, protein that I'm supposed to have today? Or am I lifting this correctly? Like, is my form good? I'm like that too. A lot of questions. So something else that I do is, this sounds so cheesy, but
we're all about cheesy because it's whatever works for you.
I also use myself as an accountability partner. I know that sounds really weird, but social media is, people probably unfollow me left and right because I
totally
post
fine
stuff all the time. Motivational quotes, pictures, things that just like resonate with me, I post because I'm keeping myself accountable. I'll post past pictures of me to keep myself humble. And I find that works for me. Like I said, people probably are so annoyed.
But that has nothing to do with
matter.
you.
No.
Because they have the option to unfollow or follow now.
Exactly.
So,
right.
Okay. So I feel like I kind of do that similar, not necessarily with just like weight loss, but in general, I try to overshare.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I know that I've shared a lot about having anxiety, but for me, if I didn't share and felt alone and didn't have that connection, then that's where I struggled. So I guess technically I could say like I have my own accountability as well.
But I agree with that. And I follow you and I love everything that you post, and it keeps me motivated too. Like there will be some days I'm like, oh, I don't feel like doing this. And then you will post something or someone else will post something that resonates, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this.
Social media isn't all bad.
No.
You just got to follow the right people.
Yes, exactly. And you have to be authentic.
Yes.
With your posting. Like, I'll post something even if, like, last week I wrote a blog about how I was really sucky at running one day and how I was like, this would kill me now. Like, I don't want to do this. I am horrible. And I posted about it.
Because you have to. Because that's how people connect. So, like, I run all the time, but let's be honest, not every run is great.
Right.
You know, and, like, people need to know that. Mm-hmm. So when you hit that really cruddy run, you're like, oh, yeah, hey, so
exactly.
I apologize, too, if you can hear in the background. My dog is outside because she's super annoying. So if she's barking, you guys are just getting some nice ambiance. All right, so we talked about your weight loss journey, but we also talked about how you and your husband work out together, which I think is awesome because I love you, Nick, but we just are different. We'll never work out. We have different styles. And you know that you've kind of like shared that there's a lot of benefits for that. So what are some of the things that you're seeing for you and your husband or you and your family by spending that time together?
So I'm going to backtrack just a little bit and explain like why it's so important that we have that time to work out together.
Of course.
He and I never had like a conventional dating time. We both had previous marriages. So we came to our relationship. He had two children and I had two children. So it's kind of different. It's not like we met we had all this time to like date
together,
alone, and we did a lot of like, let's go bowling with the kids kind of dates. Like,
Right.
we did family dating. So I feel like we didn't miss out on having that time that most conventional couples have, but in a way we did a little bit. So I know I love him, and I know I love him when we don't have the children, but it's like you get to know a different part of him when you are alone.
Totally.
So date nights help, but date nights are what? You go out and you eat and drink, or you go to the movies and you're snacking on popcorn. So when we both started turning our lives around with, you know, nutritional eating and exercising, that becomes difficult to say, oh, you want to just go out and sit and have a glass of wine? Like, no, I can't.
Right, because you're making a conscious effort.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's really hard to find places where you can talk and connect.
Oh, it's so difficult. Yes.
That isn't food.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, we'll go bowling. We'll do like a lot of DIY classes, a paint night, but also at all those places there's alcohol. You know?
Right.
So we'll do that all sober. It's still super fun.
Right.
But there's got to be more than going to a place and...
Well, and I know for me, like, I mean, I'm not a huge drinker. My husband's not a huge drinker, but, like, it's not like we're intentionally staying sober, but it's just not something we do.
Right.
But when you're at events like that, it's almost like you're spending your time explaining why you're not drinking.
Yes, exactly.
So it's almost more of an added stress. It's like, well, why aren't you?
Because I'm watching what I put into
so it's
my
almost
face.
like you're adding a stressor that you don't need to add.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but going to the gym together, I mean, it's really strengthened our relationship because not only, again, so cheesy, but we're getting strong, you know, physically, but we're also getting strong mentally and emotionally because if he finishes a workout first, he comes and he cheers me on. If I finish first, I go and I cheer him on.
Which is awesome.
Which is great because sometimes you really need those motivations. Like you're
Absolutely.
done. You're
Absolutely.
done. And you're like, I can't finish this. And no, he's always there to be like, you've got this. And
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because then you guys are able to come back to the family and have that separate family relationship.
Exactly.
All right. So you mentioned you're both divorced.
Yes.
And I know you're an open book. So I wanted to just share a little of that story because I feel like it's very important to who you are.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I feel like you have a lot of great things to share for that. So you make it look easy, whether you know it or not. And I think a lot of that is your transparency, both of you, and, you know, your commitment. So what are some of the strategies or tips that you found to be successful for your family that helped kind of ease that transition of joining together?
I had my expectations. They were so high. We were going to be the Brady Bunch. We were going to be completely blended. His kids, my ex, his ex. Like, I thought going into it, like, we'd be that family that they all go on vacation together, and other people are like, how do they do that?
Right.
No. So it was like that for a while, and then there are certain things that I've put to rest that, like, I won't reopen, but now I've really learned to just accept and be happy with the quality of time that you have in those moments rather than the quantity. It doesn't need to be 100% of the time.
Right.
And then on one hand, like, my husband's role in my daughter's lives, it's completely different. He had a very easy time filling in an absence that was there with the two girls.
Right.
It's much more difficult to be an add-on.
Oh, exactly.
Side.
Yeah. Which is a great way to explain it without really calling blame.
Right. Because it doesn't matter who said what or who did what or who posted what on social media. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just, you accept it and you move on. And my girls are so lucky to be able to have my husband in their lives, and they know who is there, they know who's putting the effort in, and
Right.
like that's all that matters.
Right. Which is awesome. Which kind of, I mean, like, you're like just perfectly tying into these questions. But so you had mentioned being kind of like an add-on, and I know that's kind of a challenging role to be put in.
Yeah.
And like you said, you put the pressure on yourself. You wanted to be like the Brady Bunch family.
Yes.
What were some of the things that you did or still continue to do to make sure you're taking care of yourself? Because, you know, I came from a family where my parents were divorced, and you want to make sure you're not impacting the kids.
Oh, absolutely. So my parents are divorced. I have step parents. I have siblings all over.
Right.
I'm also adopted. So I have parents, siblings, all over.
Right. And I hear you, because my mom's remarried, my dad's remarried, Nick's mom's remarried, and then there's his dad. So, like, we roll deep in family events.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Roll deep.
Yes, absolutely. So some of the things that I have done to stay sane during all of this, I know I said I love social media, but it's also important to make sure that you're not harping on someone else's social media.
Yes.
So that was an issue that everybody had at the beginning. Like, I don't need to know what anybody else is doing, just me.
Right.
And what someone else says about me is not my business.
Right. And to be honest, most of the time it's not even a reflection of you, it's a reflection of the person who's saying it.
Right. So that's super important. Also, like, take that time to do something that you love. So I have been blogging since my ex-husband and I separated, and writing about those feelings and just like getting it out there, and then it's done.
Right.
I guess I shouldn't say blogging. I should say journaling, because those are private.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But still writing. And this sounds so weird. But
don't have to apologize. This is why you're here, because you're authentic and real, and you have great things to share.
So driving around with the music really loud by myself for 30 minutes. Oh my God. It's so therapeutic.
But do you ever forget to leave the music on? Because I laugh at the social media meme where it says like 10 o'clock me is not the same.
Oh no, it's so real.
Because it's so true. I do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's on like 15 and you get in the car and the kids are like, "Oh mom, what are you listening to?"
And it's like 7 a.m. and they're like ready
gangster rap, and they're
yeah.
like, "What? Who are you?" I'm like, I know every word to this song.
Yeah.
You want me to rap it for you? No.
Yeah.
They don't.
We do a lot of Kids Bop in the car lately.
Okay.
So Kids Bop also has like 90s rap. So the other day, Nick and I were in the car with the kids and it was playing Whoop, There It Is.
Yes.
And Nick and I started singing and the kids were like, what is going on? So clearly, like, we've either sheltered our kids or we're really old. Is how.
That's okay. Salt and Pepper, Push It. That's my jam.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. So I mean, you're like killing it with connecting all these.
Oh, thank
so I think
you.
maybe the last thing we should share about, so we don't keep everyone forever, is you had mentioned you were adopted, and I feel like again this is also a very big part of your story. So if you can share a little about your journey, and I know you've been kind of open about it, how you found your parents and all of that. So
so I used to. So let's go back to me saying hello and telling everyone about myself. What, like, the first thing that really came to mind and I started like really talking was that I was in a movie. So
which is amazing.
That is like the number one thing and I probably should knock it off because that was 32 years ago. But
you're in a movie forever, so it doesn't matter how many years ago.
But I used to like introduce myself and be like, "Hey, I'm Shawna. I'm adopted and I was in a movie." Like, that is how I saw myself. That is the identity that I gave myself. And I have learned through this past year that it's not my identity. That's really just a very small part of me. I found my husband got me an Ancestry DNA kit for Christmas last year.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to blog about how I find my biological connections because it's so super important to me. And I started writing, and then I found the connections, and now I'm like, okay, so I'm not really finding the connections, I'm finding myself.
Right.
And I've changed my blog to kind of show that, because there's like a lot of anger and sadness when you're the only child that was put up for adoption, when there
Right.
are other siblings.
Right.
And I know some of the situations like surrounding that. But it's no longer a big deal, because they're connections, but family is like who you make of it. Like
Right.
I said, my Zumba ladies, they're my family.
Right.
I spend 6 hours a week with all the people that I work out with. Like, that's my little workout family.
Right.
Like, family is what you make of it. And at this point, like, the whole adoption thing is just part of me.
Right.
It's not who I am.
Do you feel like going through that journey, though, kind of helped you come to terms with that and
Oh,
to
yeah.
realize, really
Absolutely.
see, yeah,
Absolutely.
which is awesome, because now, like, you don't have to introduce yourself as, hey, I'm adopted,
No. I
Because
can
you
just
are
say
so much more than
I was
that.
in a movie 32 years ago.
which is amazing. All right, so my last question
Yes.
for you is, what advice would you give to moms who are struggling to figure out their own identities beyond being a mom?
Find something, anything that makes you feel somewhat human. I don't care if you go into the bathroom, lock the door, and scream into a pillow for 20 minutes. Like, if that helps, do
Right.
it. Make sure that you have an identity beyond being a mom, because, like I said, I mean, we're showing our kids that we are making ourselves a priority, which in turn teaches them how to be
Right.
a priority in their own lives. I have 3 girls, and I want them to know that it's good to be strong. It's good to be tough. It's good to be a badass. Like,
Right.
I don't want them to have to always act like a lady. Act
Right.
like a lady, I mean, doesn't have to be...
You don't have to be prim and proper to be a lady. That shouldn't be what it means.
Exactly.
Anymore.
Right. Exactly. So I want them to be polite, but
Well, yes,
I don't
of course.
need them to go be quiet somewhere.
Right.
I want them to have voices, to want to be loud, and I want them to say, oh, that boy can do that, I can do it too.
Which is awesome. So I guess this is like a tie-on. What do you say to someone who says, I don't even know where to begin?
Ooh, that's...
Because we've both been there.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like we've both done different things to know where to begin. And
Well, and it's interesting because I had to hit a really low to...
as did I.
To know, like,
Yeah.
where to go. And I would love to see people not have to do that.
Totally.
Right? So...
Which is kind of the passion and the purpose behind what I've started.
Right.
Is that, you know, it took me to a point of feeling like getting up every day was like, well, why even bother? I'm going to a job that's really hard. No one appreciates me. And if, you know, I can just give someone some glimmer of hope before they get to that part, then I feel like this is all worth it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Right. And that's why I post so much. Like, if I can touch one person with my story and it can make them kind of dig deep and be like, oh, maybe I should make a change, then I've done what I've set out to do. So, I mean, really, if someone is feeling like maybe they're heading in that direction, to just stop and do it. Just do it.
perfect.
It'd be like Nike.
You make your own t-shirts. That's what we should do. But with not the Nike swish or do it because I feel like we would get in trouble for trademark.
Yes.
Well, find something else.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Like,
Absolutely.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
this. I will be having more of these. I will probably have Shawna back at some point because whether she wants to admit that she's breaking out or not, she's really good at this and should do this more often.
Oh, thanks.
And then I will also, in the little description on the YouTube video, I will put your blog.
Oh, good.
So
Great.
if people are interested in sharing that and
Absolutely.
reading that.
Thanks.
But thank you.
Thank you.
And I won't keep you guys much longer because I feel like we could go forever. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
And I can't wait to hear what you think.